Welcome, friends, to the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour with your hosts, Sig Bisley and Colt Mauser. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, let the animation appreciation commence.
Okay, I promise. This is the last obscure horror anthology of the season. Because it's October. We gotta dig into the real shit. The classics.
Is a two-parter even an anthology?
I don't know. It was a weird one.
It's really stretching the definition.
Listen,
It looked a lot older than it was.
The animation was terrible.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It was kind of cool though. It was the screen grabs I saw.
We'll get into
really
it.
Cool.
The Curse of KAZUO UMEZU.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Anyway, we'll do that. Only one show left for the season to talk about, so we'll get into that.
Yeah, call it a night.
What was that other thing we watched? Oh, yeah, EDGERUNNERS.
Cyberpunk EDGERUNNERS, we finished it.
We finished that, and per usual, the news.
Yeah, man, news. All right, I got a lot of news. I got one other topic I'm going to add, but I'll add that later. First bit of news, and we just watched the trailer. The Super Mario Brothers movie trailer just came out.
Looks pretty hot.
Yeah, if anybody's been around for forever, you probably remember the, Dennis Hopper, Bob Hoskins.
Yeah.
Not Luis Guzman, but I can't remember his name, from John Wick. Epic.
Shit.
And Spawn, for that matter.
It'll come to
John
me.
Leguizamo.
Leguizamo.
Yeah, John Leguizamo.
I know
Epic
start with it now.
Of Mario Brothers, which was... It's actually a very interesting movie and quite the fever dream, but really doesn't have much to do with Mario.
Hey, it's a Mario.
This new one looks like straight up Mario. You only get to hear Chris Pratt a little bit, so we'll see how much he hams it up with that accent. You get to hear much more of Jack Black, but he's just doing a I'm a Giant Monster Jack Black voice, which is perfectly fine because he's good at that.
Because it's Bowser, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyway, it looks fucking... All the designs look like Spot. Well, I mean, it does come directly from a video game, so it's not hard, but
the animation looks great. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect.
it looks as ridiculous as it should.
Nintendo is certainly not going to let, at this point, anybody touch Mario and not make something that's really good. So
Yeah, it seems like they got their finger on it. So
I'm actually into it. I'm usually not a CG movie,
the CG
like
looks
kids
cool.
CG movie kind of guy, but
It's very cartoony. I don't know. I think it's going to be...
it looks like a good mix. It
entertaining.
looks like it's
Yeah.
less. It reminds me of that Pokemon movie they just did that was actually really good. Detective Pikachu. That was really
Yes,
good too.
that was good.
And that was a mix, but still, that was good shit. So go check that trailer out. It's out there. I'm sure it's out there separately. It's also part of the whole Nintendo Direct they did. But yeah, check it out. Pretty cool. All right. So next bit of news here, we got Ultraman. So not the movie, which is going to be out soon. We're definitely going to watch. You can find it somewhere. The 3D CG one that's been on Netflix. The final season is going to be debuting next spring.
Shin Ultraman is kicking around, and I'm going to find it.
I know. We're going to watch it.
Damn
But
I want to see it.
if you've been watching any of the animated one, it's got Shinji Aramaki and Kamiyama. We watched like the first few episodes of the first season. It's pretty good. So I think that's a series we'll probably go revisit and, watch all the way through once it's out.
Yeah, I don't even know why we stopped. It was just one of those things.
I think it was one of those times when there was
like
too
a
many
lot of
things
shit out,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, it happens. So the last season of that will be out in the spring. I think it was I want to say it was like 6 episodes, then 6. I think it's only 24 episodes total anyway.
Yeah.
I think.
That works. We can hammer through the other seasons.
It'll be kind of perfect. So, yeah, definitely check that out if you're an Ultraman. It was pretty cool. The CG was a little rough, but not terrible.
The worst thing I've ever seen.
No.
But
No. Not as bad as like.
It is. Nice Sidonia.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's the classic example.
I was gonna say the other one that was on Netflix, not Baki, but the.
Fucking the other fighting.
The other fighting one.
Tournament one.
Yeah, that was really bad. Or Fist of the Blue Sky, or Ashura, yeah. I think it was Ashura. Anyway, more news here. Stuff coming out. So, I didn't realize they were doing this. So, there's a Black Clover movie coming out next March 31st.
Oh, damn.
Worldwide. Yep. Netflix is going to stream it.
Nice. Oh,
Which
man, I
is
won't
cool.
have to wait. That's awesome.
Yeah, so Black Clover, Sword of the Wizard King.
Whoa.
I know.
He's already got too many fucking swords, man.
Pretty damn bad. No, more swords. Too many swords. What kind of bullshit is that? Too many swords. No such thing as too many swords. More swords. You gotta be like that guy from Kenshin.
I guess he doesn't have
guy.
to like carry him around or anything. So
Yeah, man, he puts them in his like pocket book.
Jokes.
Bad jokes. Anyway, that's coming out next March. There is a trailer out for it. It looks pretty damn metal. Black Clover is one of the better, I think, shonen shows that's come out in the past 10 years.
I'm starving for that shit.
So I definitely recommend you
So if
check it
the
out.
movie's coming out, that probably means they're getting ready to resume.
Probably. It feels very Demon Slayer to me in that way.
Yeah.
There'll probably be a season to follow.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while.
They're about to invade kingdoms and shit.
Yeah, it's going to be some good stuff.
happening.
All right, so moving on. Here's something else that's getting a sequel in 2023, and I didn't see the original, so I'm curious to see if it's any damn good. I mean, it's a crazy style, but KJ File. So it's all about kaiju, and it's an anime, but it's in a crazy paper storytelling style.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want to kind of track it down and see if it's any good, because
I'm sure it's easy to
it
find.
seems pretty cool, and like the pictures I'm looking at from it look awesome. But anyway, it's getting a new season in January, and the first season was aired last July. So
So it's probably pretty easy to find.
should be easy to find. We're gonna check it out. Maybe report back if it's any good or not. But go check that out. Go check the visual out and go track it down, because if you're interested in Godzilla or Godzilla adjacent things, it looks pretty damn neat to me. All right. So we're moving quickly through the news, but we're on to some merchandising news here. So
Always my favorite.
Uniqlo, if anybody doesn't know Uniqlo, it's a Japanese clothing company. It actually produces pretty damn good quality stuff that's relatively cheap.
If you need Gundam shirts,
And
your guys.
their graphic tees, they're weird. They're strange in style, but when you find good ones, they're very good.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to pick through, because some of the designs are just like, what are you even doing?
Where else are you going to get a Rambaral shirt?
You're damn right.
Just
So
saying.
their t-shirts are like on sale, they're like $12. Not on sale, they're like $20. They are some of the nicest t-shirts I've ever owned.
They last, yeah.
They last a long time. They're thick material. They're cut well. They need to be a little longer for me, but it's all right. Japanese aren't quite as tall. But they make nice stuff. So they're doing a tie-in with so they do tons of anime tie-ins. So always go check them out. And they sell other stuff too, generic stuff. Like I buy all my shorts from them now, because they make good stuff. But they're doing a tie-in with One Piece, and specifically the One Piece Red film. So definitely go check that out. I'm looking at the designs now. There's actually some pretty neat ones in here. Apart from kind of the generic, Straw Hat Pirates flag or something.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily find shirts for this stuff in Uniqlo. They just make some cool stuff. So I figured I'd take it as a chance to plug the Uniqlo a little bit, and also to talk more about One Piece and One Piece Red, which is coming out. Which I don't keep up on the One Piece movies. I'm trying to slog my way through the series. Still in the 700s. I'll start up again soon. Winter's here, so
I'm only in the 700s.
that'll be. I know. Well, when they're over episode 1,000 already, that Jesus Christ.
Can't stop it.
A long way to go. But yeah, go check those out. And they have, other tie-ins that they've done. Gundam, like you said, they've done Gundam ones. They did a recent Gundam one that's pretty cool. A bunch of anime they've done in the past. Like, they kind of cycle through, so they're not always available. So, kind of limited as well if you're into that kind of thing. All right. So enough about shirts. We're going to talk about shoes. That's right. This is now a fashion podcast. Blue Eyes White Dragon sneakers and Dark Magician sandals, son. You better get your Adidas tie-in YuGiOh footwear on October 7th, which is tomorrow.
Why did it have to be Yu-Gi-Oh?
And today, if you're listening to this, or in the past, if you're listening to this.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're what you would expect. There's sandals with Yu-Gi-Oh designs on them, and then there's the shoes are actually they're kind of awesome. I gotta say, sandals aren't my thing. The sandals look like kind of cheesy. The shoes look pretty nice, but they're straight up licensed Adidas Yu-Gi-Oh tie-in. I don't know if they're gonna be available. It's gonna be online. I don't know if it's going to be available worldwide. I don't know if it's just the U.S. Oh, it's New York that announced it, so I'm assuming they'll at least be in the U.S. I don't know if they're going to release them anywhere else. I don't know if they'll have real adult sizes either. But
I just gotta say,
if you're
I'm
into
wondering what the sizes you know.
if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh, you're into that kind of thing. There's some cool looking shoes, man. I'm sure they won't be really that cheap, but go check them out. You know, another wacky tie-in. And they look better than the Dragon Ball shoes they did a while back, which is a shame because Dragon Ball's a better property to have shoes from. But whatever. I want whatever they wear in the show. You know, those ridiculous like booties that come to a point. And they'll have feet that are like tinier than a freaking kabuki dancer.
That's funny.
Yeah. Moving on. More tie-in news. So Magic the Gathering must be getting real desperate to make some money, which
it would seem so.
I don't understand how, because it's the one thing that keeps like every comic shop afloat, it seems. But
Card games in general. But yeah, Magic's still huge.
Magic is the big one. I mean, Pokemon's still kind of big. Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of big. Buddy Fight. There was a couple other ones. Card Fight Vanguard. And
Card Fight.
There were a couple other ones that are a little more niche. But anyway, Magic. So they're doing a Warhammer 40K tie-in. I don't think we talked about that. Doesn't really matter. That's of interest to me, not necessarily of interest to a lot of you. But they're also doing they're branching out, right? So they're doing a Final Fantasy, Transformers, Assassin's Creed tie-in.
Whoa.
So they're starting to pull in some.
That's a lot of shit.
Japanese and Japanese adjacent properties. I mean, Transformers at this point, yes, it started Japanese, but kind of a worldwide property at this point.
I would say so.
Final Fantasy as well. Final Fantasy to me is still more of a Japanese property.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, you don't have Western studios really, so I mean, doing adaptations and stuff, but they're not making mainline games. The mainline games still come from Japan. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Whereas Transformers, you know, they're all over the place. So, there's stuff coming out here. Let's see, Brothers War expansion, November 18th. So if you're into Magic, you know, this is kind of a neat tie-in. I've seen some of the cards. You can check out some of the pictures of some of the cards. You got, you know, they're two-sided because you got like Optimus Prime, both modes.
Pretty cool.
Bumblebee and whatever. So it's kind of neat. They're also doing, this is as an aside, they're also releasing like the original, I think it's just like the original alpha, beta, whatever.
Wow.
It's like $1,000 for the set. People are not amused.
I wish I'd kept those.
Oh, they were worth a ton of money now.
Well, I sold them for a ton of money back in the day,
Yeah.
but it would have been like, you know, it was a ton of money back then, which was like somewhere between $500 and $700. I don't even remember. But now it's like, you know, they
thousands and thousands of dollars. Like Black Lotus and stuff are worth so much money.
Yup.
Anyway. Well, it's like the whole Bitcoin thing. If I just kept this Bitcoin, yeah, well, I mean, who would have between all the ups and downs and like, it just doesn't happen.
It is what it is.
By now, there'd probably be dust somewhere. Anyway, moving on. So this is more of a, hey, if you're in Japan, check this out news. So there's an exhibit running from November 2nd to January 29th at the Tokyo National Museum. That's future national treasures, and Gundam is included in it. So you got this pretty hype RX-78-2 hanging out. They got a diorama going on. I don't know what else they're going to have going on here, but, you know, it's kind of awesome to be able to go see some random Gundam stuff at a esteemed museum, you know, like an internationally recognized museum. Pretty cool. So I'm sure there's other cool stuff there as well, but, yeah, man, Gundam Exhibit, like I said, going on November 2nd to January 29th. I couldn't not mention it because, man, it's Gundam. Go see that shit. So
I wish I could.
If you are in Tokyo, in and around Tokyo in that time frame, go check it out. And with the gradual easing of restrictions, maybe you could actually go see it. All right, so this is some kind of wacky South America, what are you doing news. So the KFC Spanish Twitter account is at it again, posting pictures of Colonel Sanders with Evangelion's Asuka.
Sure.
And, you know, this is after last year they were sending flirting tweets with Kaguya-sama, Love is War, the account for that.
Right.
So, it's the crossover I didn't expect to see. It's probably not as wild as the Tucker Carlson exploding breast thing, but
The only reason he knows about that is because that's what he does in his off time.
you definitely know that's what he does in his off time. Definitely. Listen, who's more degenerate than the most straight-laced, like, Christians, right? Like, that's always the way.
Mm-hmm.
Not bagging on Christians. Calm down.
I don't think anybody cares anymore.
They shouldn't. Anyway, go check this tweet out. It's just kind of funny. It's just a great meme picture. It's very memeable. Black and white, Colonel Sanders and Oscar. Why Oscar? I don't know. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
But very memeable. I think, it's like on par with the, the American Wendy's Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Right, which is always dunking on people in the most amusing way possible. So go check it out. All right, so Bandai Namco Filmworks is doing some more investing. So Bandai's definitely flush with cash. They're definitely making some money. And Bandai Namco, especially, Elden Ring sold a lot, like a lot. So they're investing in CG Studio Anima to do projects that are a combination of CG and hand-drawn. To me, this makes all the sense in the world.
Oh, so you might get your Elden Ring.
Maybe I'll get my
someday.
Dark Souls or Elden Ring
Dark
anime
Souls,
or Bloodborne. Bloodborne would be dope. I want that sweet Lovecraft steez.
Because that's what they're doing.
I would hope so. Also, it makes some sense because, that works for them for Gundam stuff too, right? Like,
yeah.
All pretty much everything Gundam related has been a mix of CG for forever because
it's so much easier
for mech
to
it
do
makes
the robots.
it makes way more sense to do it that way. So Studio Anima, if you don't know about them, they're founded in 1997 and they worked on Kingsglaive, Final Fantasy 15. They worked on Cat Shit 1.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget Cat Shit 1. And more recently Altered Carbon. Resleeved the animated one.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, they haven't announced exactly what they're doing yet, but it's intriguing to me. Like you said, it would be nice. I'm still amazed that there isn't a Dark Souls related anime, whether it's whatever, pick your series.
It seems like the perfect thing.
They'll probably do Sekiro, which I'd be okay with that, but that would be like the least pick for a great game, but least pick for an anime. So we'll see. I think you said Elden Ring. You're probably right. Like that's obviously the thing they do just because it's so popular right now. But Dark Souls would make sense too because that's still super popular. Bloodborne's kind of a little more niche, so I wouldn't hold my breath for that one. But you never know. But we'll look forward to see what the hell comes out of this. I'd say collaboration, but it's more they straight up invested in them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so. Let's see. We got two bits of news here. Two last bits of news. So, second to last, we got this was a big bit of news and plays right into the Bandai Namco thing because their parent company is Kodokawa, and their chair and vice chair had to resign after they were trying to bribe the Olympic Committee, or allegedly bribe the Olympic
Who
Committee.
even cares about the
for
Olympics
sponsorship
anymore?
for the Olympics? So,
Jesus Christ.
Corruption related to the Olympics?
But the Olympics doesn't even make money anymore. It's like
corruption? No.
It's basically the city ruiner.
Yeah, and especially, no one got screwed harder than Japan because they were all set up to do it, and then COVID hit, and that was it. Like, everything got pushed, and it was just a disaster.
They weren't even letting people in, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a shame it wasn't a Winter Olympics because they probably would have got it off and been fine, but instead, it was the Summer Olympics, so they were completely screwed. Like, it was just a disaster. So I just thought, this was an interesting bit of news where, the chair and vice chair of a very giant company in Japan. Kodokawa is huge. They let's see, they're accused of paying around $480,000
That's chump change.
to, and of course they did it through a consultancy, and it's always
of course, yeah.
It's always sneaky.
There's always a paper trail, man.
Looks like it was mostly advertising related, but who knows? Very strange. We shall see what develops here. Maybe who knows if anybody will ever report on it again. But if anything interesting comes out of it, we'll let you know. Japanese cases like scandals like this usually end somewhat interesting. Not in seppuku anymore, though.
They do scandals better than we do, damn it.
They really do. There'll be lots of public apologies and whatever else.
The thing is, we don't even have scandals anymore because, like, you could basically just commit crimes.
Yeah,
no
people
one
just
cares.
deny. Well, I didn't do it.
Or it's just like,
Oh, Fat Tony, what? What did I do?
it's like, how often do politicians get caught doing stuff now, and it just no one ever gets in trouble for anything?
Yep.
So Japan still has standards, damn it. So there's like
They do,
actual
for that
scandals.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're moving on to our last bit of news and just another sad day in the world of conventions. So Anime NYC is going to go off at the beginning of November.
It's popping off.
And, of course, they're all about tests and jabs and freaking wearing lots of masks. Like, guys, this shit, it's over. Like, even in New York City, like, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. And the vaccination thing makes no sense considering the latest CDC guidance. So people now, like, it's become so, like, ingrained. They don't even pretend to even follow what the actual guidance is anymore. Like, that was always a farce, right? Like, we're following the guidance. Well, bullshit. You're doing it because that's what you think you should do. And now you're just going to keep doing what you think you should do before and get ignored the actual guidance. Like, because you don't like what it says anymore.
I hope they enjoy not making any money ever.
Yeah, these people are freaking nuts. So, unfortunately, another stupid place that will have stupid requirements and no exceptions. No exceptions, no matter how, no matter what kind of health issues you have or whatever, which is actually against the Civil Rights Act of 1965, and they can sue the shit out of you. So that's what it's going to take, is that people are going to have to sue these shitty companies.
Yeah, I mean,
Or just not attend.
They'll probably just die, so it won't
they'll probably
matter.
die off, but
A lot of those anime conventions really suck towards the end anyway.
they kind of need to go. We need a new crop with new people.
Yeah, they need to be cleaned up, man.
So anyway, just another one. Like,
So in
just
5 years, we can have fun again.
don't bother attending it. Like, just hold out till, I don't know, anime Matsuri again, or I don't know if anybody knows of any ones out there that are good.
A ton of mom and pop ones out there that are good.
There's got to
I
be,
would
right?
betcha.
They got to exist. So
Because, I mean, God, people email me about game conventions all the fucking time, and it's like, what's going on? Like, I've never even heard of this. It's like, no, it's a huge deal. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Game nerds kind of have to get out of the house though, because I mean, they got to play games.
Yeah, it's one of those things you need, like, interaction.
Yeah. Anyway, on that sad note, that is the news.
It's over. Okay, Lucifer the Biscuit Hammer was a fucking clip episode this week.
You know how everybody loves a clip episode.
Anybody that knows me knows how I feel about clip episodes.
Not just you.
Anyway, so I fast forwarded through it to make sure there was nothing new at the end and moved on. The only thing that was new was the last episode of the season of Call of the Night.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
It lived up to the hype, man. So one part of the episode is, if you remember from last week, Ko was hiding from the cops.
Yep.
And one of
Because
those
that detective woman or that private eye or whatever.
Yeah. They really don't
Dropped a
get
dime.
any, they really don't get any more into her this. I mean, it's
There's going to be more seasons.
It's based on a manga and it goes on for
Yeah, there's going to be
ages,
more
but,
seasons for sure.
Yeah,
so.
they really don't get any more into her this in the last episode. Anyway, so he's hiding from the cops. That vampire chick shows up, which turns out to be a dude later, which is funny.
That's vampire appropriate. That doesn't surprise me.
And he's like, if I dress up like this, it's so much easier to ensnare humans. Like,
Man, that's up. See, look at that. Look at that.
Japanese doing it right.
As they always have.
Anyway, so they go back to her whatever apartment, and at the same time, Nozuna goes to confront the other 3 vampire chicks.
Yep.
Because, like, Ko kind of has cold feet. He's not sure about turning into a vampire because of, like, all the shit he saw with that guy freaking out and attacking Akira.
Yep.
And blah, blah, blah. So she goes to confront them. She's like, he's probably not going to turn into a vampire. If you touch him, I'll fucking murder all of you. And then they have their big confrontation. And Ko basically is having he has this long, convoluted conversation with I forget her name, but that vampire chick. That's a dude.
Yep.
And then he's just kind of going through his feelings on turning into a vampire, and like why he likes basically his attachment to the being out at night. So for some reason, this dude wants to turn Ko into his offspring. Like, he tries to convince him because he has vampire powers, but they don't work on Ko for some reason because he's too dumb, I guess. And then he basically...
Maybe he's just not into dudes.
He just kind of keeps thinking it through, and at the end of the episode, it's basically... And then Izuna's, like, having it out with the head vampire chick.
Yeah.
And they both come to the conclusion, and she, like, feels bad because she made being a vampire sound way better than it actually is. It's mostly just boring.
Yeah.
So, like, they find each other at the end, and she apologizes for that. And he's like, I'm sorry for, I don't know, not wanting to be a vampire temporarily or whatever. And they realize that they actually do really like each other. It's very heartwarming. And that's pretty much the episode.
Still not a vampire?
No.
Still not a vampire.
But he's going to work at it extra hard now.
I see.
He's like back into it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a typical kind of season finale, arc finale or whatever.
Yeah, it was just like a good episode.
All right.
Anyway.
So overall series so far good, worth it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Definitely by far the best thing out last season. There wasn't like a third season of something I already watched.
Yeah.
Like,
So better than Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, huh?
Yeah. Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, you're in for the long haul.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be quite a few seasons to wrap it all up. And is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Yep.
Just as an aside, they go so savage this season. It's like ridiculous. I mean, just fucking... I can't even tell you how many people died. Like, this whole dungeon full of, like, random adventurers just got fucking slaughtered.
That's what they always liked about that show is, on occasion, man, they will go ham.
Well, I mean, he gets his arm cut off.
Yep.
Like, Bell gets his arm cut off at one point and, like, falls into the water. And, of course, that mermaid chick that he was friends with, like,
fixes him up.
Blah, blah. He has to have an epic battle. And it's, I think that has at least... I think it's only episode like 11, so it's got at least one more. But anyway, really good season.
Good. I will have to catch up because I think I have like 4 or 5 episodes from the last season to watch. So
yeah, definitely worth catching up.
This is winter season. This is where I can finally start catching up on shit.
It has yet to let me down.
Nice.
So that's pretty much it. Because
new season's starting up, man. There's a lot of stuff this season, so we're gonna have a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah, which is good.
All sorts of shit to check out. So
winter. I mean, summer season is always shit.
Yeah.
It's always thin.
It's typically, yeah. Sometimes you find some gems.
So fall, winter,
there were some gems here.
Always
so
the hotness. Fall especially. Get back into it.
Hell yeah. All right. So move on. Before we get to Cyberpunk EDGERUNNERS, I'm going to do a tiny public service announcement. So it's sitting over there. I did get my copy of ISOM #1 from the RIPPAVERSE.
I know. I can't wait to read it.
Independent comic by Eric July.
Eric D. July.
I have been very impressed with. I mean, I expected this because the guy has been around for a long time and been shown he is a very capable and savvy businessman, right? Like, he ain't no fool. And the one thing I was always worried about is, he's doing cape stuff, right? And I get that that's what he wants to do, but I've been most impressed by the non-cape stuff from independent comics. Aaron Lopresti's Wraith of God. Awesome.
Wraith of God was excellent.
Excellent. Check it out.
It's like pulp, western, supernatural.
Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog. Not really superhero either, right? Like,
I mean, kind of.
That's kind of like Ninja Turtles adjacent, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, very good, right? And although Blood Honey is kind of a setup, so we'll see when
Wreck Planet.
When I get in Wreck Planet, I know. Well, it's finally going to be shipping soon. Or Deus Vault. John Delarose.
Deus Vault was like
excellent.
One of my favorites out of that whole batch of stuff.
Pulpy. I love all this pulpy stuff, right, that's coming out. But for a superhero comic, RIPPAVERSE is off to a damn good start. Like, he wove in enough threads to make it interesting. It's not too over the top. It's got a lot of it's got a lot of feel to me of something like
I haven't read it yet, but I heard it has a very grounded, like
Yeah,
Spider-Man kind of feel. You know
more
what I mean?
like a little bit of the boys going on, maybe. Not really, because it's not really subverting things in that way. It is definitely more grounded, but it's very good. I mean, we could talk about it next week after you read it, but it's very good. So I just wanted to say that, like, if you've been thinking about backing it or you're into comics at all, I would advise get yourself a copy. I think there's still copies of one or two of the covers that you can order.
Lives up to the hype.
It got delayed like a month just because it was so successful. He had to get it out to like 40,000 backers, but man, he got that shit sorted, and people are getting copies, and it came perfect condition, everything, no problem. So, this is my public service announcement. Check that out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Comicsgate's doing in general that's great, but the Rippaverse stuff is off to a good start, and now it's kind of getting in on the ground floor of all sorts of stuff, and who knows if it'll all be good, but it's like when Image launched. You remember, like,
oh god, yes.
Not to get too ahead of myself and compare it to the launch of Image, because that's like off the chains, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Image came out right at the perfect time. Like Marvel and DC were terrible in the 90s. Like, people were just and that's back when comics were popular.
Yeah, and
people were just dying for new shit. God, I have like boxes and boxes and boxes of Image stuff.
And then when it spun off into a Top Cow and all that other stuff, like
fucking Fathom,
yeah,
Witchblade,
great stuff.
I mean, Witchblade was way more popular than Fathom, but
yeah, Witchblade was huge.
Michael Turner, that was the dude.
Michael Turner, man,
he was a real cool artist.
I mean, freaking Billy Tucci still putting out She books, and she was enormous back in the day.
Fucking
still is pretty big.
Whole box of old issues.
So yeah. Anyway, we talk about comics every now and again. I just read ISOM #1. It's very good. Definitely recommended. Definitely go check it out. Like I said, maybe we'll talk about it.
Well, that was the
next
thing.
week.
It was just so successful. It's like, I hope it's good.
I hope it's good, right? And it's hard because the first issue of anything is always going to be hard to get it right.
Yeah,
to give people enough
where they want another one,
but not overdo it and not get too stupid. Like, very good.
Well, you don't want to go fucking swing for the fences on the first issue and then you have nothing to build up to. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's
got a very restrained approach in a smart way, and enough threads put in where there's like mysteries and stuff you can, pull in and grow on later. Like, it's just smart. Again, doesn't surprise me seeing the other stuff he's done, but it's his first comic, but It's good. I have high faith it'll continue to be good. Anyway, moving on to Cyberpunk. Edgerunners.
Last 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, so Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Man, this show, freaking excellent. So when we left off before, David, main character, I can remember his name now.
Yep.
He was kind of breaking off on his own with Lucy because
Maine went insane.
Yeah, Maine went insane. He gets cyberpsychosis.
Everybody else died.
Pretty much everybody else was dead except for not Loki. What is her name?
Oh fuck.
The other Netrunner girl. I can't remember her name.
I'll think of it like halfway through.
Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Kiwi, and
the chick.
That's the Netrunner. Falco was still around. He was really cool. The mustachioed like driver.
Yeah.
He was awesome. And Rebecca.
Rebecca, that's one.
Yeah, the lolly was still there.
I think Falco's my favorite character.
Falco's great, man. I love that guy.
He's like the best side character.
Rebecca was good too, but anyway. So
Falco's just funny because he like barely does anything. He's just like he had this ridiculous Mario mustache.
Yeah. So it time skips a little bit, just a few months, and or less than a year at least. And David is now in charge of the crew, and he's gone crazy with cyber enhancements. Like,
yeah, he's just like mostly a robot.
He's very much turning into Maine 2.0. He's not as big, but he's full of all these enhancements. So now he's running the crew. They're running jobs. So this kind of establishes that whole dynamic, right? The new paradigm. So that's basically all that happens in that episode. But you also get to start to see he's struggling a bit, right? Like, yeah, he's special. Yeah, he can hold more cyberware and not go insane, but it's going to get to him. Yeah, it's going to get to him eventually. So then you move on to the next episode, which is episode 8, Stay. This is where it starts to really set up the end game, where Faraday, who was the guy they did jobs for before, he was like the guy way up who was given main jobs.
Yeah.
Has a job for them, but he's a 2-timing backstabbing jackass, and he's just basically going to use them to ascend the ladder and get himself. I guess he works for Militech now, but he wants to ascend the ladder of Arasaka and become like one of the top guys over there. So he's going to sell everybody out, sell all the information. He realizes Lucy was an ex-Arasaka asset. Like, she was basically raised as a child to do all this net diving.
Like a net diver.
And that's all brutal. That's all very, if you watch Stranger Things, all the 11 stuff, like, it's very similar.
Essentially the same thing. Yeah.
Similar idea, which, I mean, that's the Black Widows and Marvel. I mean, that's a trope that goes way back.
Yeah.
But just a recent one was Stranger Things that used it. So that episode is basically the setup for that. Like, they're going to go take this job. But the job is way more than it seems, because it's just a couple trucks out in the desert, Arasaka trucks. It's not the big deal. Well, it's got the cyber skeleton, which is the thing that Tanaka, the other Arasaka executive, wanted to test on David. And freaking Faraday finds this out, so he's like going to basically get David, set it up in such a way, kidnap Lucy, set it up in such a way that David has to put on that cyber skeleton.
Yeah. And
bring it basically to him and test it out. So that's what happens. And, there's a whole lot of carnage. The carnage in this show is great. The only bitch, and I said it yesterday when we were watching it, is the CG vehicles. It's not that they look bad, it's just they don't crumple or anything.
No, they just kind of like flip over and they're like completely untouched.
It's like cars. It's like the buildings in Dynazenon. Like, they gotta figure. That's the one piece even in the better CG stuff that they haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, it's like too much money to like give them battle damage.
It looks like it doesn't have weight, and it looks like a kid crashing cars around. Like,
yeah, basically.
My only beef there. So anyway, that's basically that episode, and then he's got to go and get back Lucy, right? So he's got to go storm Arasaka to do that. So the next episode, Humanity, is about figuring out how to do that, how to set it up. He's just a mess now. Like, he's in that cyber skeleton. He's basically just a torso in it. Like, he's a goddamn, Space Marine dreadnought from 40K.
It reminds me of like a landmate type thing. You know what I mean? You're just stuck in it.
Well, yeah, except landmate, you're just in it. And you don't remove your arms and your legs to get in it. Even if you're Briarios. All right? So, it's freaking crazy. Like, he is just a torso in there. Because, I mean, he's all cyber parts at this point, so it's not... That's not the big deal, but it's making him go in cyber psycho, and he's got this really strong medicine that when he gets to the end of it, he's kind of just going to lose it entirely. And it keeps just injecting into him, and it's just they did such a good job setting this up earlier on where it was just clear that this was always what's going to happen. Like, you're just going to have to go down this way, go down this path, and become more and more and more and more, and then go out in a blaze of glory. So anyway, in the last episode, so he goes. That's that episode, right? He's setting up and then going and infiltrating Arasaka. And then the last episode is the whole assault on Arasaka. And Adam Smasher, who's one of the main characters from the game too, shows up. He's like the most cyber person ever. He's basically just a robot with like a brain case, it seems.
Yeah, it would seem so.
I don't know how much meat he has. It's like maybe a little more than Briarios, maybe less. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not much meat going on in that body. So a whole fight breaks out there, and then, he manages to save Lucy, and then they do a good job of keeping the ending ambiguous. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he's not going to make it, and he doesn't make it, but they give you a line from Adam Smasher where, like, if they wanted to do more, there's a very easy way to do more. I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind if they did more and just completely different characters would be fine.
You can do so much with that.
Yeah,
universe.
just do in that universe.
On and on.
No problems with that. But if they wanted to have him still be around somehow, they could do that. So anyway, what are your thoughts overall?
Fantastic. It's got everything you want. I mean, it had awesome characters. As I said last week, just the dialogue between the characters in the like gang.
Oh, it's perfect.
It's so perfect. And that's like I thought that was like a dead art for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like that new bunch of like shit writers that they're letting do everything now. Just do not get interpersonal relationships.
No, at all.
Like they've never had a job. They don't know how like.
No, they don't get banter. Not
yeah,
really.
like that blue collar / gang member.
It's that very
like,
sanitized like Marvel movie banter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's just like really like people don't fucking talk like that. But no, they did really good. You know, you could picture them like, I don't know, on a job site or in a kitchen or, you know, something like that. Super easy. So, I mean, that like, it makes the characters, you get so much like more into the characters that way. Cause like they're so much more human like that. But, perfect, like just old school, like standard story.
Yep.
You know, great hero's journey.
Plot's pretty basic. Yep. It's very Greek tragedy in its hero's journey as well.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, it's pretty reasonably predictable, but not so much so that you're like bored.
Well, and you know, the end still it leaves stuff open too.
Oh
which
yeah,
is nice.
no, like the perfect amount. Like whoever wrote it really, really knew what they were doing. And Trigger's animation was great.
Yeah, like I said, the only bitch I have is
just that
the CG
stuff.
not having enough weight. Like,
but the fucking designs, like we said last week, fantastic.
Blood and guts everywhere, fantastic. Like,
yeah, they did not dial anything back. It was like really gory,
nudity, everything. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, when you're mostly a robot meat bag, like,
yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Who
but
cares about titties?
Yeah.
At any rate, yeah, no, cash money. I would fucking, if you haven't seen it yet, just do it.
Highly recommended. To me, it's on the same tier as Arcane. It's right.
Oh
up
yeah,
there.
definitely. It had all the same like check marks. You know, for like a great show.
It's great, and like I said, I hope they do more. Whether it's continuing this story or just more stuff in the same universe or
That's
whatever.
Such a perfect property for that too. I'm so glad they hit it out of the park. Because I was going to be disappointed if they wasted that universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's so cool.
Well, I mean, they went and got Trigger to do it, which, say what you want about Trigger, they got their hits and misses, but, I mean, that's a smart play. That's a very smart play.
They're like the big dick studio right now, though. So, you know.
And especially for stylistic shit like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, it was more entertaining than Kill la Kill.
Oh, Kill la Kill.
Which Kill la Kill would have been great if it was 13 episodes and not like 26.
That whole second half was just so weird.
It's a Gurren Lagann problem, too.
Oh, we talked about this before, and I finally remember what it was. Scried. That is the show that basically ended on episode 13, but then they did a whole
totally forgot
other
about Scried.
season that was like super weird.
Yeah, that show was great. The first half, anyway, was fucking great.
Yeah, like they had this
Who's the speed guy?
Oh, yeah, fuck. I don't remember anybody's name. That is like such an old show.
That was one of those ones that was on
Adult Swim, I think.
It was either Adult Swim or
I remember it was on Adult
Toonami.
Or no, you're right. It was Toonami.
It was one or the other. I don't remember which one.
I think all right. You know what? It doesn't even matter. It's
doesn't
essentially
matter.
the same thing. But yeah.
Kazuma.
Yes, Kazuma.
Kazu, you know.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, because he kept getting his name wrong all the time. Anyway, that show suffered from it had like a basically perfect arc in the first 13 episodes. And then they did another season for no reason. It was such a weird letdown. Like, it was just bizarre. Anyway, Kill la Kill did the same fucking thing.
What? Okay, so I don't know if maybe these are just, they're probably just condensed versions. They did 2 movies in like the 2011 and 2012.
Really?
Yeah.
Interdasting.
It's just re-released and remastered.
Oh, okay. Anyway, not something I need to watch again, but it was a damn good show for most of it.
You know what? I'd be tempted to watch the movies just because they're shorter. That usually doesn't end well, but...
It had, like... it was a really good shonen show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
It had, like, blood, guts, determination.
One of those shows that I've completely forgot existed, but now that you say it, like, I remember... Like,
well, because I remember how weird the second half was, and I was trying to think of it the last time you brought up Kill la Kill. And it was driving me nuts, and I finally thought of it the other day.
Anyway, Cyberpunk EDGERUNNERS. Just don't hesitate. Watch
Fucking
it.
Tip top. Get your ass.
Really great.
Get your ass in front of your TV and watch it now.
Really a damn good show. And if you haven't seen Arcane, watch that too.
While you're at it.
And we'll get to Dota soon, because
Oh, yeah, we'll get to Dota next week.
Well, the new season of Dota. The first 2 seasons are good. They're not as good as those other 2 shows, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. So, anyway, now it is time. We come to the end of this podcast with the review of a very, very dank, very strange 90s OVA. It's actually from 1990.
It's weird, obscure crap.
The Curse of KAZUO UMEZU. So this is...
But it looks super cool.
Yeah, so this is 2 20-something minutes apiece, 21,
yeah,
22 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 40-ish minutes.
Yeah, total. It's an OVA.
And they're like 20-some minutes apiece.
From 1990. It's 2 similar in style, similar in tone, but just 2 horror. It's almost like a Junji Ito, like...
Yeah.
And these are stories from KAZUO UMEZU.
It's not like last
author.
week where they were just like sci-fi, but like kind of horror, but not really. These are like straight horror.
No, these are straight horror. Like I said, they have a... I mean, KAZUO UMEZU is far earlier than Junji Ito, but there's a similar feel there to his short stories,
definitely.
his short horror stories too. So anyway, there's 2, right? There's What Will the Camera Reveal, which I think is the better of the 2. And then there's The Haunted Mansion. And there's also a bit of a framing device. There's this weird clown, mime-looking dude who sets him up, but he kind of just says a couple things and that's it, so it's not really...
Yeah, it's like it makes no difference.
There's not a separate story in the wraparound, like something like Creepshow, right? The movie people, not the series, although I've heard the series is good. Anyway.
I didn't know there was a series.
Yeah, there's a newer Shudder did it. Anyway, we're getting off track. So, what will camera reveal? So the first one. So let me say first, the animation is bad. It's just bad.
It's very cheap.
It's very cheap.
Really bad.
It's not great. The designs are pretty cool. They're very old school. Like, it's hard to tell. It almost looks like something that could have came out in like the late 60s, early 70s.
I thought it was way older than it was, but it's actually like 1990, I think.
It is 1990. Yep. So the first one. So that's just get that out of the way. Like, it's short, so you're gonna have to stick through that.
It didn't bother me, but I have a way higher tolerance for old stuff than most people.
Yeah. It's like the warning you give people for original Gundam, right? So what will the camera reveal? So there's a girl at school, and a transfer student comes in, typical anime setup, right?
Yeah, right.
And the anime student is just, oh, she's so pretty. Everybody loves her. She's great.
Yeah, everybody like loses their mind.
And this one girl is just freaked out by her, and she's just like freaking out the whole time, mouth open.
She literally like passes out.
Yeah, she's just so freaked out by this girl. She's like, she's too pretty. She's, oh God, it's ridiculous. And then like the next morning she wakes up and she's got this like almost like a spider bite on her neck.
Yeah.
Right on the front of her neck, like right where your Adam's apple would be. And she's trying to cover it up, and the girl's missing. She might be sick, and this girl's just obsessing and obsessing and obsessing and obsessing, right? So she's just obsessed, and then she keeps having these dreams. So she's obsessing over the pretty girl from school, and then she keeps having these dreams that someone's knocking on her window and coming through and biting her in the neck, and she convinces herself that it's the new girl from school. Like, that bitch, she's so pretty, and she's breaking into my room.
And her wound keeps getting like worse, and it bleeds randomly.
It bleeds randomly, it gets bigger. It's like a hole, like she got trached. Like, it's crazy.
It does look like a trach wound.
It does. So anyway, she gets her friend over, and he sets up a camera in like the hutch next to her bed to spy on her all night, which, I mean, good on you, bro. Good job. So he does that, and then he watches it, and he's like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know why oh, God's, because he actually saw everything else that went on already, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then she watches it, and then she realizes, so these are just things, short stories with a twist. She realized that she was the real monster the whole time. She was so freaked out by this girl because she wanted her beauty so bad. So she literally was going to eat her beauty, and her like neck grows a giant monstrous maw to just like with fangs and angry teeth.
Yeah, it's like eat this bitch.
To just go and like eat this girl's face off.
Anyway, it was the screenshots of that made me want to watch this.
Yes.
It's a really cool design.
It's wild. So this one I like. This one, despite all the flaws in this, the first one, What Will the Camera Reveal, is a cool story. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It flows well. It's a good It's a good short story. It's just a good...
And it's cool. It's like nice and short.
Yeah,
You know,
anthology.
it's like,
Perfect.
Because I can imagine this being dragged out into
Oh,
movie form, and it would have been so fucking boring. But it's like perfect 20, 22
Yeah,
minutes.
it's not a 40-minute fart joke.
Yeah,
last week.
right.
So anyway, that's the first one. Excellent. Definitely recommend you. If you check out any of this, if you find it too hard to watch, at least get through the first one. Second one. Oh boy. The Haunted Mansion. The name's more generic. It is more generic. It doesn't really make much sense. So it's just basically a bunch of girls that go to a haunted mansion and they find a ghost, and the ghost somehow makes their limbs fall off.
Yeah, just like
in a bloody way, and their heads fall off.
Just like vivisects them. They're just like cut to pieces.
And then they all wake up the next day, and the one girl who was kind of skeptical the whole time and passed out before getting cut to pieces in the mansion was like, oh, it's a dream. But then all her friends have all the scars where they got vivisected. So they go back to the mansion.
And put back together, apparently?
Did this somehow they're back together? But then they go back to the mansion, and like the girl from before is now the ghost. And she must have died before, but now she's vivisected. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes very little sense.
It makes very little sense. It's slow. It doesn't have any of the... It's not anywhere near as clever as What Will the Camera Reveal. It's just kind of a shame.
Yeah, it is. It was kind of like, eh. It was like a basic ghost story. It was like your stock bullshit ghost story.
It's a ghost story they should have like around a campfire, and someone would laugh at you for your shitty ghost story.
Yeah, it's like...
Anyway, what'd you like about...
You put the flashlight up your face.
Oh, my God. What'd you like about these?
The first one, God, the design of like the mouth coming out of that chick's neck is fucking amazing.
It's great.
I really like the creepy. It's very old school character designs, like super big eyes, super tiny mouth.
The designs and the desaturated nature of it was great. It was the animation itself was garbage. Like if the animation was just better, it would be fine. Like the style worked.
Yeah. So I like the style. As you said, the first one was really good. It had like it was just a cool story, a cool twist. Yeah, paced good. It really flowed well. Second one, bleh, just kind of a crappy ghost story.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's just like, what?
The order in which they were, like the shitty one should have been first.
Oh, of course.
Because it would have seemed better.
Yep.
And then they're like, they should have put the camera one last.
I don't know why there weren't 3 as well. Like, it feels like the kind of thing that should have had 3, but apparently they didn't have the money.
Yeah, it should have had 3, honestly.
Because it was like 40 minutes. 3 of them would make it about an hour.
Yeah, would have been perfect. It is what it is, though.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean...
I'm a sucker for these horror anthologies.
Oh, I am too.
So I watch all of them, but if you're not a sucker for them, you could probably skip this one.
Yeah, I mean, the director... This is the only real thing they directed.
Yeah, I can tell.
Right? Like... And the only other credit they have is Bio Armor Riger as a storyboard. Like... This clearly did not get enough money. It's a shame because I would like to see KAZUO UMEZU's stuff adapted better because there was definitely some good ideas in here where a competent animation studio could do some work.
Oh God, I would love to see like that first one in like modern animation. It would be great.
Yeah, and you could keep the designs, but I don't know, whatever. We got the Junji Ito one coming out, so I guess that'll fill that niche. But
it's true.
But this, yeah, I mean, this is a curiosity, right? It's super hard to find. I mean, we had to find a freaking Laserdisc rip
Yeah, right.
to watch
weird.
it.
And it's not a very good one.
No, I mean it's fine. It reminds me of watching anime DVDs like of older stuff back in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not the cleaned up, like when we talk about Vampire Hunter D in the next couple weeks whenever we get around to it. God, the cleanup on that, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. The first one, anyway.
It's funny because the first one looks better than the second one.
Yeah, they really need to clean up Bloodlust because Bloodlust in general looks way better, but the freaking Blu-ray we have over here is trash.
Trash. They ain't better.
But anyway, UMEZU KAZUO no Noroi, or The Curse of KAZUO UMEZU. I'm not going to recommend it, but I'm going to say, if you're really bored and you really like horror, at least check out the camera
if
one.
If you're bored and you like weird old shit, this is for you.
Yeah, I haven't checked to see. You could probably find just that camera one on YouTube or something. I mean, it's so old and so obscure.
Yeah.
If you can find it somewhere, just watch that one. It's worth it. The Haunted Mansion is whatever.
Yeah,
not really
Haunted
worth the
Mansion
time.
was like, yeah, whatever. It's just a classic. Like, it's like a bad episode of The Twilight Zone or something.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Anyway, that's pretty much it for this week. So, as usual, have a fantastic one, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace. Well, that's all for today, everyone. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour. Please remember to like and subscribe, and may your entertainment be always, well, entertaining.